to Ramblings with Rebecca. Today we're going to have a ranting ramble on the question that I've been getting a lot lately. Is law school as hard as they say? Okay, so for me, talking about academic disciplines or forms of knowledge or ways of approaching the world as harder or easier is very, very frustrating. I think it very much buys into and reproduces, this idea that the hard, natural, earth sciences are harder and should be more valued than the soft, easy, fluffy, social sciences or just downright arts and humanities. Right, and I think really what's going on as far as, what is it hard, right? There are multiple kinds of reasoning. We tend to draw a dichotomy, so if we can go back to our dichotomy and spectrum language, qualitative and quantitative reasoning, right? And so maths, engineering, medicine, the natural, hard sciences. More qualitative reasonings, the soft, easy, fluffy, light, arts and humanities, social sciencey kind of things. Most people have a definite bent towards one of the other kinds of logic and thinking, right? There are people for whom, they can solve calculus in their head, but good heavens, don't ask them to socialize at a party or understand, a governmental system. There are others for whom, they can tell you anything about a society, but good heavens, if you put a number on a page, they can't read the whole paper. Right? Very few of us are quite that polarized, right? Most people are kind of here on the spectrum somewhere. Very few people are equally good at both. Law, I think, is a discipline that is fairly in the middle of that spectrum. So it uses a lot of fairly mathematical logic reasoning, right? But it is, of course, very political and, deals with people systems. So there's this idea, perhaps, that law school is hard because there are few people that are really good at, the intersection. Right. It's also, I think, viewed as hard because it's valued in most societies, right? And so the social and, arts and humanities tend to be seen by many people as what you do if you can't do the maths, the medicine, the engineering, right? And this really drives me bats. I applied for those programs in undergrad. I was intending to do biomedical engineering. I loved it. I sometimes still walk into a science lecture just to breathe in that kind of reasoning and logic and way of seeing things. And I love it, and I'm good at it. But I'm really, really good at people systems, and I love it. And so I, crossed over and, did the antithesis of selling out or something. I don't know. But it drives me really insane that society places such a value judgment on it, and of course then an economic value, most definitely. It's not static, right? Which disciplines or forms of knowledge or careers and etc. are more valued, does change historically and, between societies and that kind of thing. So it really kind of is just, power switches between disciplines and understandings. And with that power, the assumption that it's harder because, if it were easy, everyone would just do that, right? And then, everyone would just be a doctor because it's so valued, right? It's like, if everyone were a doctor, I think society would be really miserable, right? Not that doctors are miserable, but that was the only skill that we had, right? The spectrum is good. And diversity along the spectrum as far as skills and interests and ways of thinking is an excellent thing. And this whole, it's not harder, it's just, people's brains work differently, was really, really brought home to me when an ornithologist, a friend of mine in undergrad, so bird, right? So she's doing zoology, biochemistry, molecular, fun stuff with cell structures, etc. Was in my introductory anthropology class. And she worked her butt off for this class, and she just but she was really working to get this, right? And for me, this was in my sleep. Yes, brilliant. This makes so much sense to me. I love this. I'm not studying for my exams, but oh my goodness, I have to, do this biochemistry exam tomorrow, and I'm really, really stressed. Where she was like, blah, 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 right? It's just, this long 12,000 syllable thing. And it really, showed to me, it's just, our brains work differently, and what was really easy for one of us was really hard for the others. And thank goodness, because she's really great at ornithology, and I really like people, and that's good. Both are necessary.